body, as well as fatigue, sleep, memory, and even mood issues. I applaud Lady Gaga for being transparent about this debilitating disease because it affects more women than men. But again, it causes a lot of pain, folks, a lot of discomfort. Again, widespread joint and muscle pain. Do you have it? Throughout your whole body, as well as fatigue? Do you have sleep problems, memory problems? Do you have mood issues? Look for the documentary. That's the documentary Gaga, 5'2". And she's hoping that she can educate folks about this awful disease. She's basically wishing to help raise awareness and connect people who have it. There is no known cure for fibromyalgia, but there are plenty of websites these days dedicated to helping people that have it. Anywhere from nutrition, on what to eat, there's non-inflammatory foods, things that trigger fibro attacks or fibro fog, and how to be able to deal with some of the symptoms, how to live with the symptoms. But it can cause a lot of problems, and not just for that individual, but obviously for individuals that might be caregivers, that might live with individuals that have this debilitating disease, because it can become debilitating to where a person literally, like my wife, doesn't want to be touched. It's not that she doesn't want to be, but it hurts too much. So I'm just being transparent. Intimacy, it's not happening. Once in a blue moon, folks. That's a lot of information there. Folks, it hurts. So pain medication, when it's just out of control, that's what a lot of doctors do, is prescribe that. And another big one, and it just seems like so many that have it, fibromyalgia that is, don't want to exercise, but that actually is a prescription for people that have it. That you say if you do that, it helps stave off some of the effects. And being at a healthier weight helps relieve some of the pressure on your joints and your bones. But weight loss, and that's why getting a grip on nutrition is a big thing. But again, a lot of folks, they hurt so much and they're in pain so much and trying to just survive this life, working and taking care of kids and whatever it is, they just don't have time for themselves. That just seems to be more of a task that they just don't want to perform. And so personally, I've dealt with this again for 15 years from a wife that has it, and it's only gotten worse through the years. So this is a very real thing. And one thing I can tell you that I've tried to provide her is plenty of information and plenty of help on how to fare through this. And some folks are very receptive to it and have done a great job with it. Other people are just not as proactive. And you can only encourage and be there to be some kind of support. But sometimes people just, for whatever reason, they don't help themselves. And it's tough. And a lot of people, they just get embarrassed about the condition that they have and don't want to reach out for whatever reason. Lady Gaga says, "Do I look pathetic?" She asked at one point, trying to hide tears. "I'm so embarrassed." She was at the Toronto International Film Festival to promote a documentary. Gaga said of her pain, "It's hard, but it's liberating too," Variety reported, adding that she wanted to talk about her illness so that others who have it didn't feel alone. "I think that the most important thing you can do is be authentic," Gaga said. Twitter followers were supportive of the singer and thanked her for sharing her experience. It's incredible how just this one tweet has created a discussion about fibromyalgia and chronic pain and is allowing many to just open up. Anthony, he says, "I struggle with the same issues. It's nice to know we're not alone." Another writer, you honestly inspire me so much. You are so brave, using your voice to raise awareness on things not only you, but many others are dealing with. You may want to share that article and look for it. Lady Gaga reveals fibromyalgia causing her chronic pain. It affects people from all walks of life. People that live star-studded lives can be stricken. Look at Michael J. Fox, struck with Parkinson's disease early in his career. No respecter of persons, folks. No respecter of persons, that's for sure. We all are susceptible to these particulars in our life, and we don't know if it'll hit us or somebody we love. But if you know somebody that suffers from fibromyalgia, please be understanding. Please have a big heart. It's not easy, that's for sure. But you got to pray, and you certainly have to take a deep breath sometimes, because there's just not, at the end of the day, anything you can really do. As much as you want to be able to do it, it's there. And, as guys, we want to fix it. And sometimes you can't. We want to, but we can't. And we can pray and just know that these bodies are imperfect and something's going to get us. And this one, and a lot of folks, and it was really sad, there was so many articles written about fibromyalgia that people were just crazy. They were kooky, made fun of. People lost their jobs because of it. I actually work for a broadcast group. I'm not going to mention the name. I've worked for several groups over the years, but I remember this one lady, she'd miss several days because she'd have flare-ups. And because outwardly she looked fine, they fired her. They canned her. And I remember her well. She did great work. She'd have her good days and she'd have her bad days. On her bad days, she couldn't even get out of bed. Some of you might relate to that, but look for the article, share the article with somebody else. It might help them to say, look, we're not alone. And I guess that's really what her effort was, to be able to tell other women or men suffering from fibromyalgia that you're not alone, that I suffer from this, and hopefully she'll continue. And maybe there's a foundation that she'll start, like Michael J. Fox, which I commend, for being able to help others. You remember our Attorney General during Bill Clinton, and I wasn't a huge fan of certainly how she handled things, Janet Reno. Remember how she'd shake really bad at the podium? Yeah, she passed away actually not too long ago, but died of complications of Parkinson's disease here. But the whole Waco thing was just deplorable. That's, to me, that's kind of like Benghazi for Hillary Clinton. It's just that whole Davidian compound and the whole thing, that how that was handled was just horrible. It didn't need to end that way. But anyway, I had to bring this up because personally this affects me in a real way, and it's painful, especially when you have a spouse that, didn't exhibit these things and then they have it, and she feels bad about it. But there's nothing that she can do about it, and so that's the life that you live and lead. And the only thing you can really do is just be as loving and kind and sweet and compassionate as you can. But it can be lonely. It can be a lonely existence. It really can, because you want all these things and you can't. I thank God that I have friends that I can reach out to, and lean on my faith through this. And I like her idea is that more people need to have support groups to reach out to each other and learn of ways on how they can live with this disease and how they might be able to alleviate some of the pain and be able to, I would say, not get rid of it, but to live a semi-normal life with that disease. But it does affect a lot of folks, and you're not alone. So Again, query Lady Gaga, fibromyalgia. If you know anybody that suffers from it or has it, share the story with them. Let them know I was thinking about you. Mayor de Blasio yesterday handedly defeated a crowded field of challengers to win the Democratic mayoral primary. God have mercy. As he continued his quest for a second term as the leader of the country's largest city with more than 90% of precincts reporting, de Blasio had more than 74% of the vote, according to an unofficial returns. He has been considered the easy favorite. Jeez. Sal Abadis, Richard Bashar, Robert Ganji, Michael Tolkien, and none of whom had his organizing power or financial muscle. De Blasio goes on to face Republican State Assemblywoman Nicole Malkus, a Staten Islander, and an independent candidate, Bo Dietl, a private detective, in November general election. In his acceptance speech, de Blasio renewed a promise made before his first term to make New York more hospitable to people feeling squeezed out in a city with a huge gap between rich and poor. He says, I'm not going to stop until we build that fairer city for every New Yorker, he said. Well, as long as you keep your places open for your safe havens, your safe spaces for people to have their puppy dogs and still cannot accept or believe that Donald Trump's president, I can't see how you're going to be able to do that. It'll be interesting to see his financial success because I don't see anybody, any really liberal mayors throughout the country that really can exemplify any success with their economies roaring. Where's he going to do this? How's he going to do this on his own? Is he going to lean on Donald Trump? He's going to talk to Donald Trump to see how he can make New York great? Not a chance. I hope the independent from Staten Island, Bo Dietl, man, he's great. I hope to God maybe that between those two they can square off and knock this guy off. But New York needs to get rid of this guy. This guy's an idiot. An idiot. If anything he does in New York, a disservice. But for whatever reason, as you could see during the election for Donald Trump, well, it's been New York. It's filled with liberals. Filled. It's just one of those things. And as long as that happens, you're not going to be able to have a fairer place because it's the liberals that are squeezing out folks to be able to have fair priced housing there in New York. And folks, it's always been that way. And that's not fair. That's been the left and the elitist leftists that have done this. Now, I'm not saying that there's no rights that have been interfering with this, but the left has been suppressing this for so many years. It's been the ones, and guess who's been running it? Them. Mostly liberal. Most always, every single time, besides Rudolph Giuliani, who did an amazing job and cleaned up the city for real and really, to me, did an amazing reset for the city. Gosh, if we could have somebody of that caliber, of a Giuliani in New York City, it would just be phenomenal. New York definitely needs to see some leadership instead of having a denier or appeaser or having Obama policy implemented in there. It does not do anything to make New York greater. Taking a bite out of the Big Apple. The World Trade Center will never forget the 9/11 deal. It's just still hard to believe. There's so many people that are still so darn complacent in this country. I just really wonder if we've learned anything. Seems like a lot of these snowflakes, they just almost welcome these terrorists with their arms wide open. Please come. Live in our cities. We'll protect you. We'll protect you. Come here. It's going to be okay. We love you. Well, folks, I mean, does it not sum it up for the way that these people are? And they do it all in the name of tolerance.